At first, it was a job. I'll be honest, at first, it was a job. There's so many organizations that only see recruiting as a order taker. And it's so important to treat these people as a business partner, as a strategic lead to their business. And so I've developed a bit of a passion for just screaming at the top of my lungs that we are a partnership and that we're not just here to put butts in seats.
Welcome back to Talent Hunters, powered by MRI Network, where each week we talk with the world's top talent strategists and executive recruiters. If you want to build talented teams that drive your company to big goals and big growth, then this podcast is for you. And now, let's join the conversation with today's episode of Talent Hunters.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Vince Holt, the host of Talent Hunters. Today, I'm excited to have Beth Armstrong, the talent acquisition lead for VaynerX, located in New York, New York. What excites me about Beth is she's an inspiring and supportive individual that truly has a passion for talent acquisition. Welcome, Beth.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, just to set this thing up right, explain just in the Reader's Digest form, what does VaynerX do?
VaynerX is a communications company, and within it holds several other entities. There's 2 advertising agencies, there's an e-commerce company, there's a digital content publication company, and so on and so forth, many more underneath that umbrella.
So a conglomeration of companies.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
That's got to be taxing on an individual like yourself that's trying to attract superior talent out there.
Yes. It's a lot of work for sure.
So what brought you to this point in your career journey?
Into talent acquisition, I did not take a normal path. I don't know if many people take a normal path into talent acquisition. I'm not sure many are coming out of high school saying they want to be a recruiter. I found my way into it I don't know. I started out in television production, working at a daytime soap, really enjoyed my time there. But the show did get canceled, and that had me concerned around the uncertainty of what happens when a show gets canceled and if I wanted that kind of lifestyle. I ended up finding an administrative position within advertising, which kind of opened the door for me to kind of suss out where I wanted to go. As an admin, I realized I really loved helping people and being a guide for my leads. And then I tried being a copywriter, hated that. I have no other points other than I absolutely hated being a copywriter. But I did find a position that was called creative management. And that was a position where I was doing internal allocations for creative staff and also finding external staff to bring into the creative department. So that was my first touch into talent acquisition. I really enjoyed resource allocations, but I more so enjoyed the part of matching talent to the skill set needed for a creative brief that came in from our clients, and did not like the percentage allocation piece and the heavy math. So I then kind of started to follow a path of how do I find amazing talent to fit a brief, and just kind of followed that path across many different advertising agencies, later kind of growing more into other positions like client partnerships or project management, tech, analytics, paid media strategy, all of the roles that kind of fall in there. So that was kind of how I just landed into talent acquisition.
So you run a small team, is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Now, just for my own edification and our guests, what defines small team?
Right now we are a team of 6. And I think with the market, most companies have recently experienced layoffs within their team. Unfortunately, we were impacted by the market and or just the industry in general. So we did recently have to release some of our team members. So it is a significantly smaller team than when we had. It was 10. Um, so I think with those impacts, you do kind of feel that shift on your team of having to be a little bit more scrappy and having to dig down deeper. So right now in North America, we are roughly 6.
So running a small team, each individual, their role becomes more crucial.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, again, break down what your role is and what your other people do to make you a powerful team.
Yeah. So right now, every function within the company has its own designated recruitment lead. So we have a director on creative. We have a director overseeing early career. We have a director overseeing client partnerships and strategy and PM. And then my part is overseeing paid media and analytics. And because VaynerX has a few entities that have those focuses, we are then spread across those different entities across North America. I have the added role of handling recruitment operations as well for North America, and then most recently started branching out globally.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for your discipline, describe a little bit about your process of how you find and attract that superior talent.
There's a lot that goes into it. One, I think we are very fortunate to have a founder that is very present in the social space. He has a lot of individuals that admire him and want to work alongside him. So I think we're very fortunate to have him as our lead, kind of steering the ship. But I think it's also important for us to have a leadership that has a similar presence. They're going out and they're speaking to audiences across like different conferences and, industry professional conferences. It's very important for potential employees to get that external experience with our internal employees. So having them speak at those conferences, doing kind of like networking opportunities, and also doing podcasts or social media posts and things like that is very important. I also think there's also an importance in our website, our LinkedIn pages, our social pages, just kind of showing what our culture is like across not only North America, because that's my remit, but globally as well. We have so many amazing individuals here, but we also have an amazing culture where we celebrate kindness and empathy and collaboration and kind candor. So it's really important that we spread that message out there. Those are 2 good examples. I think there's so much more that goes into it. I can go on forever.
So help me understand, you're recruiting not just for your organization, you're recruiting for your clients as well. Is that correct?
No, I'm only recruiting for VaynerX.
Okay.
And the family of companies within that.
Okay. So is your organization made up of mostly remote people? I mean, that's a big topic today. Mm-hmm. Remote, in-house, hybrid. How is your makeup of your organization?
The majority of VaynerX is hybrid. And the majority of our employees are full-time as well. We do have a few temporary employees And I would say the majority of those individuals are our residents, which is a training program that we have here. It's a 3-month training program. It's paid. Um, and we created that program because it's a great try before you buy option for early young professionals um, to kind of figure out what they want to do, because who knows what they want to do once they graduate college. Um, so, and that's been a hugely successful program. So I would say the majority are temporary employees for that training program, but we don't bring in all too many independent contractors or freelancers outside of that.
So describe the hybrid, because that's there. It used to be obviously everybody worked in the buildings because there could be accountability. There was on-hands training and so forth. COVID changed a lot of that for everybody across the country. But it sounds like your type of business relates to the hybrid and promotes the hybrid a little bit stronger.
We we do like hybrid because it allows for flexibility for a lot of individuals. However, we like having people come into the office, and while we have set days that we give individuals to come in, we welcome them to come in any day. um, it's important for the collaboration piece, especially in a creative environment. There's so many individuals that need to contribute to the final piece that gets submitted out into the world, especially when within like advertising, for example, or even our digital content publication company. Um, there's a lot of minds that need to come together for that finished product. So it's important to like meet in real time, talk through it, be there for the production end. So that's why we like the hybrid opportunity.
So as I was reading about you a little bit, and you refer to your why.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk about that just a little bit?
So my why is about why I do talent acquisition, like why I'm doing this. And I love people's stories. I think it's really interesting to get like a deeper dive into people's passions and what they want to do with their life. I mean, you have two lives, right? Like you've got this life of your chosen family, and then you have your life outside of that. Um, and you spend the majority of your life with the work side. So I just think it's really um, enjoyable to hear people's stories, how they've grown, what they're interested in doing, and then I love that I get to play a part in finding that next step for them. It's just I always tell my candidates this too. I'm like, I don't care if you are not a fit for this role. I will help you find something else. I just want you to be happy as an individual. Um, and so I often do try to like go outside. If they aren't right for my role, I will try to find them something either within the organization or connect them with any recruitment friends that I know of. I just love helping people find their path to the next thing.
That's such a learned skill, because people getting into, I've been a recruiter for 40 years.
Yeah.
And independent recruiter for different companies out there. And you're right. Nobody goes to school to be a recruiter unless it's to be in the military. And
right.
So when you get out, to get into this profession, it's an acquired skill. You've got to have a good teacher. You've got to have somebody that has discipline to be able to teach you the foundation that you get to explore as you grow. How has your why evolved since you've been a recruiter?
It's evolved. Well, at first it was a job.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Truth.
At first it was a job. It was, and I really enjoyed like helping the people, and then I kind of developed that like, oh no, it's so much more than that. It's helping somebody with their journey, and I've also recently developed a passion for the operations side. I've realized that I'm a bit of a process queen, and have really enjoyed that as well. I'm like, well, it's great that I can help somebody with the journey and their journey. But then on the other side of things, like I want to make sure the whole experience is thoughtful, and takes into the consideration all of these humans that we're touching and make sure that they're, you know, feeling loved even when they're getting released from an opportunity. Um, and then also, I want to make sure that the company understands all of the work that's getting put into finding these humans. I think there's so many organizations that only see recruiting as a order taker, and it's so important to treat these people as a business partner, as a strategic lead to their business. And so I've developed a bit of a passion for like, you know, screaming at the top of my lungs that like we are a partnership and that we're not just here to like put butts in seats. So I've developed bit of a passion around that as well. But I think the biggest part of the why is that human piece of like helping them find that journey. That's kind of where you get or at least where I get my most fulfillment out of the position.
I so appreciate your transparency because you talking about your why and how much you want to help other people, it just makes me reflect on what you're really doing when you talk to anybody, whether it's somebody that you end up pursuing or not. You're really digging to find out their why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you have to establish such an incredible trust with these people to be able to truly open up their kimono to allow them to allow you to see inside of them.
Yeah.
What's your magic?
Voodoo, heavy voodoo at night.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. I'm not sure. I think I might have to credit my background in theater. I just like love seeing people as people and like just talking to them like a person, which is probably a very simple sentence. But I think, you know, I try to bring a lot of energy and compassion and empathy to when I'm meeting with my candidates, and like they're in a very vulnerable state. I think it's very important to make them feel comfortable and relaxed. And I always try to bring a bit of sense of humor with me as well to try to release some of that tension during an interview. So I think it's like building that trust up front, which is also all the more worse at the end when you do have to release somebody. I feel like you've built a relationship with them in that simple 30 minutes that you had. They, you know, they talked about their whole career journey and their hopes and their dreams. And you have to be like, I'm so sorry it didn't work out this time. So it's, yeah, I think I'm going to credit my theater degree.
I would add sincerity because there, just in this little bit of time that you and I have spoken, you just expound your sincereness, and that captivates people. So be proud of that. Don't lose sight of that.
So,
now, when you're talking to people, is it mostly on the phone? Is it mostly face to face? How are you interacting with these potential candidates?
Yeah, you know, it's changed. I used to just do phone screens pre-pandemic. And during the pandemic, we started doing like video interviews, and I fell in love with it. I used to hate it. I used to hate being on the screen because I never wanted to worry about my appearance and if I looked professional or not. I work in advertising mainly. So it's like I wear hoodies, like, you know, I'm not wearing collared shirts and jackets every day. So I always worried about that. But it's been so nice doing like a video call and actually getting to see someone's facial expressions and how they talk and like the energy behind them. You get more sense of a person doing the video interviews. And I'll be honest, I haven't done an in-person interview in ages. I don't
Really?
know if I would be very good at it, but honest.
Really?
Well, I mean, I guess I can like talk to people one-on-one, but like I have not been in like a room setting interviewing somebody in a while. I might be a little rusty on it.
So that's interesting because I find I've had the opportunity to do all three.
Yeah.
And I found that the video is, I don't feel like I see the real people.
Mm,
And maybe it's because I watch too much TV and movies and stuff like that. And so, but in person, I can see more of their body English and so forth.
yeah.
And I always try to ask questions that people aren't expecting.
Yeah.
Because I want to see if they truly are thinking the answer, or if they've just got a canned answer to come with. Now, I learned this business on the telephone. We didn't have videos when I started in the 80s. and we had just gotten fax machines. So technology was way behind the times. But I find it entertaining that you feel more empowered by the video now. Because if you haven't been doing the face-to-face, the video gives you that step in between telephone and face-to-face.
Yeah. I will say with video, the one challenge that I've come up against is reading. You can like candidates will have a script in front of them, and some are probably doing it and I don't even realize, and like good for them. But the candidates that do have a script and they're full on reading, you can see their eyes going back and forth. They're very, zoned in on that piece of paper and their monotone voice. I'm like, that's when you kind of have to interject and be like, take a beat. You got this. Put the piece of paper away. Just talk from your heart. Like you know everything. This is your life. Like you should be living it. So I think that's the one challenge with videos that I've had.
There's going to be a lot of people watching this, I hope, that are going to be interested in what you just had to say.
Yeah.
What a great lesson for people. What else would you advise people to do in a video interview?
There's a lot. I mean, one, don't read. Prepare, but don't read. Video specific interview. Your background has to be released of distractions. I've had people take interviews in coffee bars. It's very loud. There's a lot of people moving around in the background. And then the interviewer on the other side picks up a lot of that, coffee machinery and the humans and the kids screaming. So quiet place. Make sure your background is kind of like clear of any clutter and distractions. Put on a background blur or fancy picture that's like makes it look like you're in a library or a clean office. I think that's important. And then pre-testing all of your audio and your video, your camera as well.
Mm. I love your comment about not reading, because people need to understand. When I prepared candidates for interviews, because I was an independent recruiter, just preparing people, setting up interviews and so forth, I used to break away from what I was trained, pre-program people for the questions and the answers and all this stuff. And I used to train people, look, don't try to memorize anything. Go in and be yourself. And find out why the company is searching for this position to be filled. And once you feel it in the pit of your stomach of why they need this position filled, then show them through your experience of past successes directly related to that. Show them how you've brought solution to those.
Yeah. I
because
love
it's
that.
real. So you just hit it on the head. It's not about your resume. So
Right.
that's great advice. And gosh, please spread that. Go to the tallest mountain and spread it all over the world because
Yeah.
that's the secret.
You're adding the human element to your resume. Your resume is just a piece of paper with a bunch of words and stats. They're hiring you, not your resume.
What a great comment. That's just such a great comment. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I have no idea. Hopefully within talent acquisition. I just don't know where I want to go yet. I'm just there's so many new things happening in TA, and it's evolved so much over the past few years. I have no idea what to reach for. I'm kind of the way I've always operated is with my gut, just kind of being like, does this make me happy? Does this make me miserable? And then follow the path of happiness. Um, so I don't necessarily have like a goal of like, I want to be a CTO. I don't know if I want that. I don't know. I'm just kind of following a path of like what interests me. And right now, recruiting and also the operations piece are where I like to live. And once I feel like I have accomplished those I'll find something else to drive towards. So
What touch on something else because this is right in your wheelhouse is
okay.
technology is advancing at the speed of light.
Yeah.
In your form of recruiting talent, where do you use technology?
So I have not been blessed with budgets in my career. So I've always run scrappy. My first ATS was actually with Vayner. And so I highly recommend money going into an ATS system. And I'll shout out Greenhouse because I love that. LinkedIn Recruiter is obviously another tool to use. And I think those are like the two basics, right? Like if you're kicking off a recruiting the team, you're going to need LinkedIn Recruiter and you're going to need an ATS. There are so many amazing toys out there. There's automation, which I think is fantastic. Their AI is now hitting talent acquisition, which worries me and also excites me. And gosh, there's so many. You could go in so many different areas.
So I want to expand on something here.
Okay.
You said AI worries you.
Yes.
What worries you?
So there's a few things. So AI is being used in like a million different ways within recruiting. A lot of people think that AI is going to replace recruiters, which I don't think it will because you need that human element. A lot of people are using AI for automated messages, which I think is great. However, it is very formulaic and does not come across as a human. End of sentence. I've gotten many recruiter emails that just are AI and I can tell it's a bot and it's not very warm. It doesn't make me want to go to that company. It feels very cold and like we are too busy to be a human to recruit you. I also know that AI is being used to review resumes, which I think is fantastic because if we get hundreds of resumes and it would be amazing to have this tool that can like help me filter through resumes. However, the one thing I do like about me being a human reviewing a resume is that I can see something in a resume that will spark my interest, and technology is inherently flawed with bias and all of that stuff because it's built by humans, and no engineer or programmer is perfect. And so I anticipate some kind of flaw in that reviewing of a resume. So I don't necessarily trust it all the time, but like, will I use it to help me write an email and then reformulate it to be more of Beth? Yes. Will I use it to be like, how does my tone sound in this message? great. Well, I'll use it in like many different ways, but I can't fully rely on it 100% quite yet. So that's why
I love hearing you say that. I really do. You have to understand, and I alluded to it earlier, when the fax machine came out, it was going to strip recruiters of being able to do their business because all you could do is throw your resume in. And of course, then the computers started to evolve and the job boards came up. That's going to do away with the recruiters. And the bottom line is, and you hit it so eloquently, is the minute that we start making decisions based on what a machine writes, we're going to fail. And I don't mean we as recruiters, we as corporate America are going to fail. Because you said it, that human interaction. People are getting so they don't even write their own resumes anymore. Right. So if we've got you writing my resume and it's being sent in and we got some bot reading it, what do they know about me?
Right.
Nothing. So don't worry, because it will ferret its way out. It will find its place in this world. But you said the one thing that I truly expand on is it's a tool. Mm-hmm. Technology, AI, it doesn't make any difference. The real problem that I foresee is how many people are seeking shortcuts and will use the tool as the answer instead of the tool as a tool to get to the answer.
Right. It's how I feel about putting the screens in cars when you can put your car in reverse and you look at the screen to see what's going behind you. It makes you a lazier driver because you need to turn around fully in order to see all of the things. So that's my analogy.
No, I think that's beautiful. And to even play that a little, what about these cars that are driving themselves?
No, thank you. No. Which is funny because when I was a little girl and playing with dolls, and my best friend and I used to pretend we had a car that could drive itself so we could put the kids down and take care of the kids in the car. I was like, we saw the future. We just weren't smart enough to invent it. Crazy.
Oh, that was wonderful. Beth, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to spend with me. I hope that this has meant something to you, because it really has hit me really in a special place. And I enjoy your why, because I think everybody needs to find their why.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to meet you and have this conversation. I can talk talent acquisition, get nerdy all day. So this has been so great. So thank you.
Well, having a passion for talent acquisition, it's a gift. And just for what I've heard so far, just keep pursuing that. The rest of it will take care of itself, whether it's in operations, wherever it is. That talent acquisition is a place in your heart. Just keep it there. Keep pounding that heart towards it.
I will. Thank you.
All righty. You have yourself a great rest of the week and weekend.
You as well.